Hey, bold goal crushers. I am so excited to be a part of your New Year celebration. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. And I was asked to just share a little bit of the process that I go through to just really evaluate the previous year and plan for the new year and beyond. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Rosemary Lewis. By trade, I do a few things. I am a real estate broker, associate broker with EXP Realty. I am also the host of two podcasts. One is Real Estate Bestie, where we are supporting and just providing resources and tools for women in real estate who are looking to break away from the busyness and the hustle, but create businesses that they truly love and that will be impactful. And I also co-host a podcast with my husband named Eagle Talk with Team Lewis. And we are actually going through a rebranding where our target demographic are entrepreneurial couples, where we are pouring into them. I'm based in the Texas area, a transplant from Chicago, all the things. And I think the really interesting thing that I would love to share with you about me is that all of this, like dreaming big, entrepreneurship, bold, goal crushing, all of that, it is honestly, you all, very, very new to me. I was an elementary school teacher for 14 years, and literally I came into my professional life after college just really thinking that I was going to get a teaching job. I was going to teach until I retired, go on one road trip a year with my family, and that was it. But God had different plans for me. And when my family and I decided to relocate to Texas, and we did it scared about 10 years ago now, we have just been in that perpetual cycle of doing it scared and stepping out on faith. And I am just really grateful for what I've been able to experience, which has brought me to this very moment of just sharing a little bit of my process with you. So ironically, I'm in my office and you can see all of that work behind me, all of those writings, like tell me I'm a teacher without saying I'm a teacher, still a teacher. That is actually what I did on my me retreat. And it has set the foundation for my intentions for 2024 and beyond. So let me just go a little backwards and explain to you what a me retreat is and where it came from. So my husband and I, we have always, well, not always, I would say for the past 4 or 5 years, we opted, well, even before that, we opted to do a staycation with each other in lieu of Christmas gifts. And then that evolved into that 2 to 3 day staycation being a vision retreat, where we would just really take a moment to show gratitude for the year that we were closing out. And we would set plans and intentions for our family for the coming year. And we have been doing that for about 5 years, and it's just been a really great practice for us and for our marriage. And I will share with Sarah the link for a book that we use this year, and a lot of the same things that I do on my me retreat that we do as a collaborative effort. But this year, you know, I figured out like I needed some time to myself. Okay. And it started like this was my first annual one because I already have next year's booked on the calendar. But it was really about, okay, stepping away from the noise, stepping away from my everyday life and going to a location for a couple of days where I could just really think, dream, process, reflect. And it has just proven already just in the first couple of days of the year to be one of the best things that I can do. So first things first, in an ideal situation, right? I would have gotten on a plane and went to Arizona. That's what I'm doing this year because I'm planning for it ahead of time. I would have gone to a very serene location, but because of timing, because I wanted to do this, you can do it at any point of the year, but I wanted to do it at the end of the year, in Q4, actually even before me and my husband did our meeting. I ended up booking a local hotel room, not too far from where I live, but it was close enough where I could get back if I needed to, and I didn't have to plan for travel time, but it was far enough where I was able to disconnect from the day-to-day things, so every day. So a couple just logistic things that I did with this time away, because I wanted it to be very fruitful. I deleted all the social media apps on my phone. Gasp. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but I run my business, a good portion of my business, especially with the Real Estate Bestie podcast, is showing up and being very visible online. And then let's just be honest, Zuck and them have this whole social media situation where we are trained to like go at it. I actually was reading a book and it said it gave a statistic, and I'm not going to get it right, but it was like we touch our phones over 2,000 times a day, and I believe that, because if you don't know how much you actually touch your phone, just delete your top 5 apps for a day or two and see how often you go to your phone to look at them. Like, it's going to show you how they're not there. So I decided to delete, and I didn't just block it, like I actually deleted the gram, I deleted Facebook off of my phone because I did not want to be tempted. So I deleted these things because I really wanted to set an intention where I just really went into myself, right? And then also I gave fair notice to the people around me, like my team. I also run a real estate team. I don't know if I said that, but I run a real estate team. So I let my team know what I would be doing over the couple of days. So unless it was an absolute emergency, I'm going to be off the grid. And I even did that with my husband and my kids. Like, my husband can take care of those kids for 2 days or 3 days without me. And of course, I checked in, shared my location. He knew that I was safe, but really did as much as I could to isolate myself. Now, I'm going to be honest, I did check in a little bit, but I was not having like full blown 45-minute conversations with anybody. It was just like a checkpoint if something came to mind that needed to be addressed right there. But it's amazing. Like, when we stop making everything an emergency, we really realize a lot of stuff is not an emergency. So checked into the hotel room, and I started the first day or the first evening just really starting to think through some reflective pieces, because I knew that I was going to have a couple of days. I didn't want to overwhelm myself, because this was also a retreat for me to just do some of the things that I like to do that I might not necessarily have a chance to do, like order room service without somebody trying to eat a little piece of my burger. I digress. But so that first night was really light. I don't know if it was light. It was light, but it was a reflective night. So the very first thing that I started to think about is I wanted to say, okay, Rosemary, and keep in mind, I did this at the end of 2023, but we're at the start of 2024. You can do it. You might have to just reword it. But like, what am I really proud of up until this point of the year? What's something that I'm really, really proud of, or things like I just wanted to start jotting down. What are the things that I'm really proud of that I was able to not just accomplish? Like, I'm an Enneagram 3, so I'm such an achiever. So not only the things that I was able to accomplish, but the things that I was able to experience. And that's a question that I want you to ask. And I'm saying that because a lot of times we jump right into goals, right? But there is so much value in evaluating and taking a good portion of time to reflect, because when I reflect on what has happened, I get so much information and data about me and about my processes, about where I have shown strength, what are my areas of opportunity, and now it's going to better inform the way that I move forward in the next venture. So this is really important. So went through the things that I was proud of. And for me, it was things like, obviously, well, not obviously, but I was proud of, the way that stepping out of Real Estate Bestie was a total, like, kind of, it rolled out my mouth one day. And now, whoops, here I am, making courses and having a podcast and doing all these things. So that was something that I was proud of. I was proud. We took a life-changing trip. We took our boys to Dubai. I was very proud of that. I was also proud of this, may sound crazy to some of you, but 2 years ago, my mom passed away. So I was really proud that 2023, the grip that grief had on me in 2024 or in 2022, that grip was loosening. I was proud that I was coming back to myself. So again, not just things that you have accomplished, but what are some experiences that you want to celebrate? So take a moment and really think, even if you need to hit pause on this right now, like, hey, what am I really proud of that happened in 2023? Okay, The next part is that I took a moment and I thought through, okay, now what are my shoulda, coulda, wouldas in 2023? What are those things on my list that, man, I wish I would have did this and I could have did this and I should have did that? What were some of those shoulda, coulda, wouldas? And this is a part that we like to glaze over because let's be honest, who really wants to spend a lot of time thinking about areas where we did not excel? That's not necessarily a fun place to be. But again, the whole point is, how can I inform myself? Like how can I use this data? How can I use these experiences to inform how I move forward in my next season? So really spend some time thinking through, okay, what are some things that I should have done that I would have done? I'll give you a couple of mine. Like, I really wish that I actually lost a really dear friend in 2023. And we were supposed to, like, we had no clue that she was going to make her transition when she did. We thought we had more time. We always think we have more time. And they'd opened up this really, the PGA opened up their headquarters about 10 minutes from where I live. And we said, oh, we're going to book a hotel and all of us girls are going to go there and just hang out, right? And that didn't happen before she made her transition. So I wish, shoulda, coulda, woulda, just instead of having that be a thought in our head, just actually making that reservation and doing it. But again, I was still proud of the way we loved her well up until her last breath. Something very practical, a shoulda, coulda, woulda for me, is I was like, man, I should have stopped drinking. Like, I've been really on this kind of discovery space with my relationship with alcohol. Thank the Lord that I haven't had, drinking hasn't necessarily been a problem, but it definitely has not been an asset in my life, right? So I was just really evaluating my relationship with alcohol. And honestly, y'all, just me asking myself that question during this me retreat and challenging my why behind what I consume, whether it be alcohol, a podcast, anything. I've been alcohol free since around this time. So just really thinking through, like, I should have hired a bookkeeper sooner, right? So different things that I wish were the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And then I challenged myself to say, okay, let me pick 3 things on this list that I can take action on immediately. And I bring that up because sometimes, we have these shoulda, coulda, woulda lists and we feel powerless against them when it literally is about making a decision to do something different. So, the book, like, I couldn't do anything about my friend passing away and us not going to the hotel. But you know what? What friend, like, what person has popped into my mind and I thought, oh, I should give them a call or I should make a lunch date. You know what? Let me actually be intentional in doing that now. So that's something like, so what on your shoulda, coulda, woulda list can you take immediate action on? For the bookkeeper, can you actually Google, can you call a business associate, see who they're using, and at least make the appointment that is going to push you in that direction? Because the whole point is that I don't want to do this practice again next year. And the same things that were on my shoulda, coulda, woulda list this year are still on the list. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Yep. Okay. So then after I did the shoulda, coulda, woulda, this is what I ended the night with. Is like, okay, what do I hope to be proud of in 2024? So I actually took some time and visualized myself at the start of, or at the end of 2024, right? This is, at the holidays, or the holidays are wrapping up. They're counting down the bottom, closing my eyes. What do I want to say, man, I am so grateful and proud that I was able to achieve or experience these things. And that's going to look different from all of us, but I want you to really slow down. I want you to feel what you feel. I want you to see what you see. I want you to taste what you taste and actually put yourself in the seat of the person who has experienced what you want to be proud of in 2024. Okay. Then the next process. Now, I'm not even going to even give you timelines because this should take a couple of days, but here's the next thing after coming up and thinking that through. I looked at that list of what I hope to be proud of. Okay. And drinking was one of them, right? I was like, I hope to be proud of being alcohol free for the year of 2024. And then I took that and other things on my list. and I wrote down what will hold me back. Okay. And this is where we get to be super reflective and we get to be honest with ourselves about ourselves, not to shame ourselves, but if we're honest with ourselves. So I'll give you a great one. If you want to be super proud of your 5 a.m. workouts, but you know that you have a habit of binging Netflix shows, put it down. Like, don't let it be a surprise when you lose like one more episode, right? Put it down, because what you know about you is going to inform not only the goals that you set, but how you go about creating the systems that will actually help you to achieve the goals. So I literally looked, come on in, it's someone on my team. She's like, you're always doing something. Hey girl. It's like, how do I actually, like, what are the things that are going to hold me back? And you know, what I really realized, and I want to even get close to it here, because I want you to see. Look, I'm taking you along this. What's holding me back is right there. And you see, I crossed it out and I wrote right here. You know what's holding me back in everything that I wrote down? It's the actual limiting belief. Okay. The limiting belief, like I identified them to say, it's my limited belief, my non-belief on what is available and what is possible for me that's holding me back, right? Because if I think that date nights with my husband are holding me back from being alcohol free, because I don't know, you know, I hadn't experienced what it looks like to go on date nights every week without drinking. That was just my limiting belief, right? So I had to really identify first what would stand in my way. And then the next part was, okay, what is going to be my new belief? So for me, okay, if someone offers me alcohol or offers me a glass of wine, I'm saying it's so like deep, alcohol. No, if they offer me a glass of wine in a social setting, do I believe that I can have fun without drinking, right? So I had to literally write down, when the thoughts pop up that are going to tell me one thing, what am I going to choose to believe when these limiting beliefs pop up? Okay. And drinking is one, but like, what about that part? You want to be proud of how you are showing up on video, but your limiting belief is that you have a lisp. I have a lisp, if you haven't noticed it, right? But now my new belief is like, you know what? There's going to be someone out there that is going to resonate with how I show up I can't even say the word, authentically. Thank you. I'm happy I got people in the room with me. See, I'm so authentic, right? There's going to be someone who is going to appreciate that I'm not perfectly curated, and that is what we need more of in the world. So instead of that belief about my list holding me back from being proud of what I want to be proud of, I'm going to remember this new belief. So I want you to really think through what your new beliefs are. Whew. Okay, that was a lot. Take a deep breath. Now, after all that, like I've identified, you know, what I'm proud of, my shoulda, coulda, wouldas, what I hope to be proud of, called out those limiting beliefs, started to literally write down my new beliefs. Now it's time for me to visualize, baby. Because now I have taken myself through a process where I get to see myself exactly as I want my life to be, and not just for the next year. Like I like y'all, it's amazing how many times one of the biggest visualizations that I have is a life dream of mine. Now I don't want to happen anytime soon. I have a 23-year-old son. So I hope that he does not make me a grandmother anytime, but at least until I'm 50. But I see myself, right, like renting a really dope beach house and being there with my sons and their families. And I have 2 sons. So I visualize myself with the granddaughters, and I visualize my husband and I being like one of those corny couples with like matching fila jogging suits on, walking to the beach, really healthy with our granddaughter, taking her to do something. I don't know, but I see myself in that loving relationship. I see a strong family unit. There's so much there. I see my finances being in a place where renting this beach house is not an issue. I see having, you know, being physically fit enough to enjoy my life as I am aging. And I see that all the time, right? So what do I need to do now? What is my next logical step if that is the vision for my life? So spend some time now visualizing, like, what do you want life to look like? And here is something that I think that I need to point out. And I actually just heard someone articulate it in this way from a book called 10X is Greater Than 2X. It's like by the guy who wrote Who Not How, I think. Yeah, it was Who Not How. Benjamin Hardy, I think is his name, and Dan Sullivan. And Dan said, like, we have to begin to be comfortable to say what we want, but without having to explain it, right? Like, have you ever been able, like, oh, you know, like, you don't have to explain it. If you want a Rolex, you want a Rolex. If you want the beach house vacation, it's just because I want it, right? I don't want that because I want to heal kids in Africa. I want it for my family, right? We don't have to justify what you want. So spending some time visualizing and giving yourself the freedom to want what you want because you want it without having to explain it to anybody is a deep thing. Now, I will tell you this because I am a Christian, and I do, from my Christian background, sometimes I really struggled with desiring things because for some reason, I don't know when I began believe this lie that if I desired things, it made me a less like not a follower of Christ. But what I understand now is that I can want what I want, but I also often remind myself that I can't want anything from God more than I want God. Okay. So that's just like a pillar, like a faith pillar for me. Like, yes, I can want everything that I want, but I want God more than what I want him to do in my life. So I just want to throw that out there. Okay. All right. So figuring out if you want what you want, then the next step, now I can actually come up with, okay, when I know what I want, I know I've reflected on what's happened last year, what I want to be proud of in the coming year. And then I come up with a theme for the year. Some people say a word, and I'll be honest, like every year I don't have a word. And like, I remember, like, especially when I was teaching, like, what's your word for the year? Prosperity. Like, it just sounded good. It sounded cool on social media. But really, like, when you really look at what you hope to do from this year to the next year and where God is pulling you, if you have to sum that up in one word, what would that be, right? And I'll tell you mine. My word is leap. Okay. And it came from two. I just read the book, The Big Leap, and it blew my mind. If you haven't read The Big Leap, I encourage you to read it. I think it's Gay Hendricks, but she talks about just the different zones of where you want to live. And she talked about the zone of genius. And that is really where I feel like my life is. I'm going from this zone of excellence where where I do things well to this zone of genius where I am really in my sweet spot. I'm really where God is calling me to be. So my word for this year is leap. And then I actually came up, I'm looking up because it's right here. I actually came up with my why. So listen, my why to leap is I want to jump to a greater height with force, like I really defined it. And my why is to shine God's light and minister in the marketplace. Like I figured out last year, oh, the Lord wants me to like not be on a stage in a pulpit sharing him. He wants me to share him just like I'm sharing him with y'all right here, right? In my everyday work, how can I shine a light to God? And then I said, I want to show others that trusting God and putting action behind your prayers can literally change the world, like literally change the world. Like, can't just pray for it. We actually have to put action for it. And then I feel like you just can't be in action. You actually have, you know what? I don't even want to say whatever you believe. I believe in Jesus. I believe that's where I'm going. So continuing on, because this is not a religious podcast. So here we go. So after I figure out my theme for the year, where I want to go, I've done the visualizations. Now I plan the actual goals. Okay. My family, my husband and I, we plan our goals in what we call the 5 F's: faith, family, fitness, finances, and fun. And, you know, some of them, like, I'm not saying you got to have a goal in every area, but I do want to make sure that I am evolving and I'm growing in every one of those areas. So I think through the 5 F's, I think through where I am and where I want to be. And then I go over and come up with my goals for the year. Okay. So I don't think that you should have 175 goals, right? Less is more in this case, because I want to go deep instead of wide, right? I want to deepen my relationships. I want to deepen my impact in all of these areas. So I'm really zoned in on goals. And this is one thing that I will tell you about goals, right? Is that sometimes you have to challenge yourself. Like everything that I put on my goal list, I challenge myself to say, okay, but why is that a goal? So I'll give you a great one. Have won a lot of awards for our real estate team, myself as an agent. Just have been very blessed with a career that I absolutely, it blows my mind. I was just a school teacher less than 10 years ago. Shouldn't say just, because school teachers are the bomb. I was a school teacher 10 years ago. So I put down like a number, like a production goal. How many houses, how many millions of dollars worth of houses we want to sell this year, or I wanted to sell. But that goal, even though like it just felt like that's what I was supposed to put down, but I really didn't have like a deep yearning, a deep why on why that number mattered to me, right? So I challenged myself on it. And when I challenged myself on it, what I realized is that more important than hitting this arbitrary number, what was important to me, I have 4 young ladies, well, including myself, on my team. It is important for me to see them hit their financial markers, to experience a new way of life with their family. And so I shifted the goal, right? Instead of putting a number goal, I literally put down my goal is to help my team exceed their financial goals, like what they need for their family. I want to help them exceed that. And lo and behold, like when we really sat down and said that, like I sat down with them, figured out their goals. Okay, what do we need to sell in order to get there? And it really is the same number, but the why, right? My why behind it is different. So I'm going to encourage you to challenge yourself on your goals. Okay. So you challenge yourself on your goals, you write down your goals, 5, 6 goals, 2 goals, like just it should not be 100, because again, we're not going wide, we're going deep. And then finally, for each and every goal, when I leave this me retreat, now this I've been here for a couple days. If y'all haven't noticed, like in the middle, I have gone for walks, I have ordered room service, I have read my books, right? I'm not just in one session. I probably work, I'm a little bit of a squirrel. I'll probably sit in one of these thinking patterns for about an hour, no, maybe 2 or 3 hours. Then I give myself some type of break, go work out, go do something as I'm here in the me retreat. And the last part is, okay, what is my next best step? So looking at each one of these areas, these goals that I have for 2024, what is the next step, right? So if I want to lose weight, do I need to call a nutritionist, right? If I want to, do something in my finances, who's going to help me get there? Do I need a coach? Do I need to enroll in a class? Do I need to hire somebody? Do I need to fire somebody? Like, what does that look like? So figuring out what is your, like, I want to leave this experience with an action already in motion in order for me to get that. So yeah, that takes a couple days to do that. But it is something, and again, like a lot of time, like I'm not just hammering it out. There might be one part, like the what do I want part. It probably took me 6 hours to really articulate to myself what I want. I went for a nature walk. Then I thought about it. Then I went and looked at some pretty houses close to where I was at. And, like what really drives me, what really motivates me, giving myself some time to think those things through. So I hope this was helpful for you. I know that you all are on this New Year party, you're on a New Year journey, and I'm just really excited to hear more. I will be in contact with Sarah to find out, just how you are going throughout the year. If you would like to get in contact with me, I do a lot of work for realtors, but I'm gonna tell you, it is a lot. It is very, very, I don't care what area of life, a lot of what I put out there, it can work for whatever business you are. So if you hit up rosemarylewis.com/list, then you can be added to my email list. I send a lot of freebies. I have a devotional that I send out once per week about industry and just how we can find God in every situation. And yeah, I would just love to see y'all on the list. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for allowing me some time to spend with you, and I'll talk to you soon.